Eternity Speaks. I'm your host, Reverend Bill Eggleston. I hope everyone is doing well and has had a great week. I apologize for my absence last week. I just wasn't feeling myself. Sometimes my allergies get the best of me. But I'm feeling much better today. So here I am. Today, I'd like to talk about variety in religion. Now, that may sound strange to some people since most of us were brought up having been taught about only one religion. Uh, get that from our parents and the upbringing and everything, and generally we're kind of focused on one thing. But why do you suppose there are so many different religions? We don't all speak the same language. Could that be part of it? The need to translate the religion into other languages could be cultural differences. Or maybe, just maybe, God wanted it that way. Let me ask you this. You travel to a Middle Eastern country, okay? Are you going to understand the language or the customs or even know what to expect at all? Are you going to know what to order for lunch? Are you even going to know how to find the restroom? I know I've asked a lot of questions so far, but isn't that how we learn? By asking questions? Common reaction for most people when they don't understand something is to fear it a little. Anyone with a child can attest to that. We've all had our children say, I don't like that, even though they've never tried it. Just try to get a kid to eat broccoli. It looks like a little tree. I wouldn't want to eat that. I can see where they're coming from, but now I kind of like broccoli, but it was because I tried it, because I learned a little bit about it. I find the same thing happens with different religions and different cultures. We like Chinese food. A lot of people do anyway. I love Chinese food, but it makes you wonder about how it's made and the culture of China and how, it makes you want to learn a little bit more, besides just the food. But wouldn't it be better if we learned a little bit more about faith before condemning them, other people's faith? In order to understand our own faith and to grow in that, we shouldn't just focus on Christianity or focus just on Islam or just on one specific religion. It's important to broaden our horizons a bit and learn about other cultures and other religions and see how they fit together. We all have different names for God. Okay, well, not all of us, but different religions have different names for God. But the concept is still there. The same concept of the one God is still there. You go a long way on your spiritual journey by considering the teachings and customs of other religions in addition to your own. You got to broaden your horizons a bit. You can't get tunnel vision on one thing. After all, most of the world's religions have that one thing in common: the concept of do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Most religions are based on love and peace and understanding and faith. I mean, there's no one religion that has it all right. Every religion has their stories that are a little bit off or a little bit skewed from what actually happened to try to bring people together or try to teach a lesson. It has nothing to do with the language you speak or the customs you follow or what religion you are affiliated with. It's that knowledge. That's the key. You learn all you can about other religions and customs. Understanding will bring us closer to each other and closer to God. And that being said, I'd like to turn the show over to Barry and our special guest, the Prophet Muhammad.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
It's Nice to be back on Sunday mornings. I
Yeah.
had to be away for a couple of weeks on business, but now we're back to what the real business is,
Yep.
which is trying to spread the words of God.
Yes.
This is going to be a very interesting message. We've already channeled the prophet 5 different times, and it's all up on our YouTube channel. Next week, we're going to have Buddha come through for us. We're
That'll be interesting.
obviously trying to touch many of the different religions of the world so people get a better understanding of it. So, anyway, the prophet is standing here. We do these shows with great respect for him. I know there are people that are probably thinking that we're disrespecting him, but we're not. We're doing exactly what he asked us to do. So, without any further delay, leave us hear from the Prophet Muhammad. Hello, everyone. I've asked Barry to allow me to speak to you. I've been trying to bring messages. I've been channeling with him. We are bringing him wonderful words of faith. I love the people of the Muslim religion. When I came back, God asked me to form a religion that was suitable for the people of the Middle East. It was a difficult time. Now, Jesus had come back and had walked the earth 500-600 years before I came back. He had told us the story of God from the perspective of Christianity that would work for many, many different people of the world. I spoke of the Muslim religion. When I came back, the Middle East had many different tribes, different deities. They worshiped many, many different people as they did when Jesus returned. There were many Roman gods. And for my people of the Middle East, they were worshiping different deities as well. God wanted me to establish a religion that was tailored to the people of the Middle East. There were many complexities that I needed to address at the time. There were different languages. There were different dialects. There were different ways of doing things. It was also a time where, and I don't like to say this, but women were considered as second-class citizens. They were not educated. They were not allowed to participate in many of the political happenings that were going on. Only the men were educated during those times. So the religion of which I had to speak dealt with the political or educational ways that were taking place. The religion of which I spoke was written, the teachings of the religion were written in a very complex manner. Arabic can be a difficult language, and much of what I spoke was written after my death. That's the same way it happened for Jesus. The Bible has inconsistencies, and the words that were written in my teachings contain inconsistencies. Many of my words were accepted as teachings that would never change. Today, there's a modern world. Teachings have changed. Educations have changed. I'm very happy to see that in some of the countries, women are being treated with the respect of which they deserve and are being educated. There are still areas where they are treated as they were in the 7th century. I have asked Barry to speak for me. I want the members of the Muslim faith to understand that they must adapt to modern teachings and they must progress. I know that there are those of the Muslim faith that practice every word as the words were spoken in the 7th century. I know there are many Christians that fear certain groups of the Muslim faith. I would like the people to understand that there are many, many members of my faith that preach charity, love. Muslims are mostly wonderful people. Yes, there are those that are taking advantage, are trying to use the faith for power, are trying to do things that I never ever conceived of. I would like anyone listening to truly understand that the basic concepts of all the religions that God sent his messengers back for are the same. In Christianity, God wants you to follow charity, love one another, and treat others as you would be treated. I would like members of the Muslim faith to follow those same teachings. It is only through love and coexistence that humanity can continue to evolve. Members of all faith live in countries that possess weapons of mass destruction. Those weapons make coexistence much more critical than it has ever been. In my time, 100 miles was a long distance, and we had to either walk or travel by horse or camel or however. Today, your modern technologies have shrunk the world. You can travel to faraway places and you can better understand those places. The most critical thing that humans can do today is to learn to love and to get along. I want the members of the Muslim faith to understand that. I want members of Christianity to understand that. I want all of the people of the world to understand that there is a single God, whether you call him Allah, whether you call him God, the source, whatever you call him, you need to understand that he is the single power that affects all in this huge galaxy. God has asked me to speak through Barry to attempt to get these modern messages to the people that love me and love the Muslim faith. I want members of other faiths to respect and understand the Muslims. Islam can be a very difficult religion to understand, and because of that, members of other faiths do not take time to truly understand. I am speaking to you today to help widen the understanding that all individuals must have if they're going to evolve peacefully and coexist. I know that you hear messages channeled from many spirits. Most of them are from the Christian faith. I hope that you take time to understand that all faiths need to believe in the single God and of the need to coexist. War in my time was sadly a necessity. Those that differed with me as I walked the earth were trying to kill my followers, and I had to protect them. Today, we are seeing wars just simply based on the fact that individuals want more power, more wealth, more greed, more land. In my time, I waged war to protect my followers. Peacemakers today are often maligned. Peacemakers must protect the innocent. Individuals with greater knowledge should bring that knowledge to help bring individuals that require help to a higher standing of living. Today, we see many people of great wealth that do not do much for others. They would rather have their huge lots and live these hedonistic lives. But they forget the simple fact that when they return to heaven, they will not have any of those riches. And they will be judged accordingly. There will be a karma in future lives for them. Perhaps they will return and live a life of poverty so that they understand what it's like. I do not want you to think of me as the leader of a religion that is counter to the words of God. God speaks clearly. You just simply have to listen to him. I know when Barry brings you these messages that he often refers to using your common sense. I would hope that members of my faith would use common sense and understand that they must adapt to what is taking place around them. The reality is that you cannot force teachings that worked in the 7th century to work today. Things have changed. The one thing that has not changed is the fact that God is very real, that he teaches love and coexistence. Even though I lived in a violent time, I tried to get those messages across. Jesus certainly paid with his life for teaching those lessons. Today, I know there's much frustration. There are many people that are having trouble getting along, and there are many, many people that are being threatened by the violence of war. Many are forced to relocate because of this violence. It is a time that members of all faith can unite in helping others. You can look at this as a time of danger and terror, or you can look at it as a time of opportunity to help. I'm here today to tell you that you all have an opportunity to help others. You all have the opportunity to understand other religions, and you all have the opportunity to be one with God. So I'm sure when many of you saw my name that I was going to be here today, you thought, what could he possibly speak about? Well, now you know. I am speaking about all being one under the teachings of God. So I thank you for listening to me. I thank you for allowing me to speak, and I hope that you will pass on these messages. I know that Bill and Barry and Connie and many others are trying to pass on these messages of love. And they're having problems being understood, and people would rather play their video games and listen. Tell others, live a good life. Just remember that whether you speak to God, Allah, whoever, as long as you follow the simple messages of love, all will be fine. So thank you very much for listening to me. I appreciate that you've taken the time, and I hope that my words have helped today. So goodbye. Follow the words that you're hearing, and all will be well. Okay, so there we go. Next week we'll have Buddha. He will be speaking some other very good words.
Okay.
I have nothing planned, so I assure you I will be here next week.
Okay.
Have a good week. I hope everybody that's listening will spread our words to other people, and hopefully all will be well. Goodbye, and I'll see you next week.
See you next week. There you have it. A great message from the Prophet Muhammad. I'm sure a lot of you didn't see that coming, as far as having a different religious icon or person come through. I know most of the guests that we have on here are Christian based, but it is important, like we were saying, to embrace other religions and other cultures and learn from each other. That's very important. If we stay focused on one thing, we're going to always be focused on that one thing. We need to expand our horizons a bit and learn to get along. And what better way to do that than to learn about other cultures and learn about their religions and see how it compares to ours. Well, not compares to ours, but see the similarities and the fact that there's the same basic underlying message across nearly every religion there is. It's all based on love and understanding and respect, and it's important to understand that just because you may not understand something, or you may fear it a bit, but it's important to embrace it and learn from it. You're always going to be a little bit afraid of something until you tried it, or until you understand it better. That's the best way to break those boundaries and break those barriers, is to learn about one another and try to understand. That's that's what happens. That's what causes a lot of conflicts is misunderstanding. So think about what we've said here today, and think about what the Prophet Muhammad has said. And I look forward to seeing you next week when we speak to Buddha. That should be interesting also. Learn a little different take on things. So with that said, be good to one another. Look out for one another. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. And we'll see you next week. And God bless.